So this is a Toyota Highlander 2015. This is the rearview mirror and the power for the rearview mirror. This just pops off. There's a little connector here. You put your finger on it, push that down, and it pops off. I put a voltmeter on these wires, and there's 14 volts coming out of here. So this is how I'm going to power my dash cam. I think this is a lot better way than what I saw on some of the other YouTube videos where they're removing this whole midsection here, popping this loose, and then running the wire over here to the USB connectors, running it around, running it up. And what I don't like is they're running it up here. This is the airbag. So I'm uncomfortable when you get over here and you're running the wire around here. If this airbag would ever have to be deployed, that wire could possibly interfere with this popping out, and I just don't want to deal with that safety issue, where that wire could possibly prevent this airbag from popping correctly. And then the wire would, go around here. I think it's a lot easier solution just to tap the wire from this connector and just make a very short wire going from here to here to power the dash cam. So that's what I'm going to try. So this is the cigarette lighter adapter that came with the dash cam from All-Key. I took the plastic off using a vise, just put in the vise on the sides, and it spreads open, and this pops off in no time flat. This is going to be the regulator. The rear view mirror on the Toyota Highlander has 14 volts going to it. So since the dash cam requires a 5 volt line, this will act as the regulator. This would be the same as if you plugged it into your cigarette lighter on your car. I'm just going to connect this to the connector on the back of the rear view mirror on this side, and then I'm going to desolder this, and I'm going to solder a very short USB cable on this side, probably just a few inches long, so there's no massive amount of cable hanging on that windshield. And I'll put this in heat shrink, and this way I'll have the regulator to drop from 14 to 5 volts to power the dash cam. Alright, so this is what I've done so far with the regulator. I've soldered the USB cable that's going to be going to the camera onto the end of it. I took off the USB housing. I didn't want that clumsy piece on there. So I soldered it directly to here, and I used some goop, which is a regular glue you can get almost anywhere, to act as a strain relief on that cable so it doesn't move around much and break the wires off. So that glue is still drying. It's not dry yet. Once that's dry, then the interesting part is how I'm going to connect the positive and the negative to the rear view mirror on the Toyota. For right now, I'm going to just try a couple of skinny pins and push it into that connector to see how well they seat in there, if they will hold. Because I would hate to have to snip the connector on the rearview mirror and solder to the wires. It's going to be kind of hard to have a soldering iron inside the car. So I'm hoping to do this without having to solder anything on that side. Okay, now that the glue is dried, I put a piece of black heat shrink over the regulator. Still have not found that JST connector that the mirror plugs into. I would like to get an in-between cable so I could tap into the mirror more easily. For right now, I'm just going to push these wires into the crimp connectors temporarily and see how that holds up. Okay, the install is complete. Getting the power off the mirror on the Toyota Highlander worked out perfectly. I was not able to find an easy way to connect the powers to that connector, so I just tinned the wires, looped them over, and then pushed them into the connector. And then if you see, there's a small cable tie that's holding those red and black wires to the main power cable. And this way they can't slide in and out because they're all tied together with that cable tie. So the wires can't go anywhere. And the centerpiece is the regulator that drops the 14 to 5 volts. And what's nice is there's just no wires going underneath the dashboard around the window. It's all self-contained here. And this is the all-key dash cam. It works well. It was about 50 bucks on Amazon recently with a sale price. And I'm happy with this install. This worked out pretty well.